Mark session number 8 covers Mark chapter 10, verses 32 through 45. Hello, teachers. My name is Ben Jennings, and I am coming to you today to help us to understand this particular passage as we continue to study the book of Mark. And it's been fun. It's been a cool study, and I was excited even this past Sunday to sit in a class with a newer recruit who's helping out with a class right now while we have a teacher that's sick, and it was cool to see God use him as he opened up the Word and helped us to understand session 7. Here we are on session number 8, and it covers, like I said, Mark 10:32 through 45. In this particular passage, we really see a stark contrast between the mentality or the mindset of Jesus and the mindset of his disciples. And really, Jesus's mindset is a kingdom mindset. It's a eternal mindset. It's a godly mindset. Clearly, he is God, and so of course he's going to have the right mindset. But you also see that contrasted with his disciples. They were interested in the things that we typically as human beings are interested in. Who would be the greatest? Who would be served? And all of that. And that's really a stark contrast to what Jesus's mindset was. And so this lesson really is, the subject of it is serving and what it means and how that service makes you great, and that we're made great not by being served but by serving. That really is the mentality. And so our objective statement says this: we can have a God-honoring attitude and actions in terms of our service when we examine three mindsets exhibited in Mark chapter 10, verses 32 to 45. The first mindset that I want to point out is Christ's mindset on service. So let's just dive right into the text. It says, "And they were in the way going up to Jerusalem, and Jesus went before them, and they were amazed, and as they followed, they were afraid. And he took again the 12 and began to tell them what things should happen unto him, verse 33, saying, Behold, we go up to Jerusalem, and the Son of Man shall be delivered unto the chief priests and unto the scribes, and they shall condemn him to death, and shall deliver him to the Gentiles, and they shall mock him, and shall scourge him, and shall spit upon him, and shall kill him, and the third day he shall rise again." Man, that's a clear telling of exactly what's going to happen. It makes you almost wonder how the disciples could not have, like later on, as we're going to get into Mark, and as you've read the Gospels, any student of the Scriptures, kind of, you wonder at why the guys didn't seem to understand, why they weren't just anticipating Jesus' resurrection. I think it was such a radical idea that he was going to die and then rise again that they maybe just missed it later on. But here he's saying, hey, I just want you to know what's going to happen. We're going to Jerusalem. We're on our way there. When you get there, I'm going to be rejected. I'm going to be mocked. I'm going to be condemned to death. The Romans are going to take me. He's in verse 33, he's talking about the Gentiles. And they're going to mock him. They're going to scourge him. That's the whipping that he endured. They're going to spit on him, kill him. And the third day he shall rise again. What an amazing, amazing thing. So Jesus is telling them, this is what I'm going to do. This is my mindset. I'm going to be killed. Now contrast that in number 2 with man's mindset on service. The way Jesus was about to serve us was through his death, burial, and resurrection. Then you have almost immediately, at least in the narrative, maybe even in the duration of what's happening, maybe this is the same day, but in Mark's telling of the gospel of Jesus' life, death, burial, and resurrection, the next thing you see in verse 35, and James and John, the son of Zebedee, you're going to see here man's mindset on service. What do I think about service? I think that I want to be served. That's what basically they're saying. Verse 35, James and John, the sons of Zebedee, come unto him, saying, Master, we would that thou should do for us whatsoever we shall desire. And he said unto them, What would ye that I should do for you? They said unto him, Grant unto us that we may sit, one on thy right hand and the other on thy left hand in thy glory. But Jesus said, let's just stop there and say that these two guys wanted a seat of honor in glory. And of course, very well could have believed that this is when Jesus is sitting on the throne, obviously, um, ruling and reigning. They wanted to be prominent. They wanted to be on his right hand and his left hand. Look at verse 38. But Jesus said unto them, Ye know not what ye ask. Can you drink the cup that I drink of? What cup? The cup of the wrath and the suffering that he had just talked about. And be baptized with the baptism that I am baptized with. There's an immersion coming, and it's immersion of suffering. It's an immersion of heartache. It's an immersion of difficulty. A couple of weeks ago, we studied, if you want to be my disciple, take up your cross and follow me, deny yourself. And he's saying, can you do that? And they said to him, we can. Now, if there was ever a time where someone answered a question, not totally understanding what they were saying, this is just me thinking, I think it's right here. These guys didn't totally understand what they were saying they were willing to do. Jesus said unto them, verse 39, Ye shall indeed drink of the cup that I drink of, and with the baptism that I am baptized withal shall ye be baptized. But to sit on my right hand and on my left hand is not mine to give, but it shall be given to them for whom it is prepared. This is a acknowledgement of Jesus' submission to the Father. This is not his thing to give. This is who God the Father decided for it to be prepared for. So do you see the contrast? Jesus is the one who deserves worship, the one who deserves to be served. And he's saying, I'm going to serve, and I'm going to serve in this radical, difficult way. I'm going to go and be scourged and tried and mocked, found guilty even though I'm not guilty, killed even though I don't deserve to be killed, judged even though I'm not deserved to be judged, and I'm going to die and I'm going to rise again on the third day. They're saying, hey, we want to be, recognized. We want to be served. We want to be on the right hand and the left hand. And so Jesus, would you give us that? And of course they don't deserve it, but they're wanting it. And that's exactly the way we think. And so Jesus says, hey, there needs to be a reverse. This is number 3 mindset. There needs to be a reversal of your mindset on service. Like the way that you think about what makes somebody great needs to not be that they're served, but that they serve. Let's look at verse 41. And when the 10 heard it, now this is the 10 other than the James and John who were part of the 12, they began to be much displeased with James and John. Yeah, you think? But Jesus called to them and saith unto them, Ye know that they which are accounted to rule over the Gentiles exercise lordship over them, and their great ones exercise authority upon them. You think about, let's just use the most prominent Gentiles to them in that day. It would have been either the Greeks or the Romans. Obviously, they're under Roman occupation, and Romans definitely did have hierarchical structure. There were centurions. What were they? They were over 100, and then there was people that were over them, and over them they had that military dominion. You had the Senate. I mean, all of these different things. You had emperors and Caesars, and this was just the way that they did it. The Gentiles exercised, those who are ruling exercise lordship. Their great ones exercise authority on them. But so shall it not be among you, but whosoever will be great among you shall be your minister, your servant. And whosoever you will be the chiefest shall be servant of all. For even the Son of Man, who's the Son of Man, that's a reference to himself. This is Jesus referring to the fact that he is Messiah. The Son of Man is a reference to Daniel, called the Ancient of Days. What was his thing? Obviously, he's great, deserving of worship. The Son of Man came not to be ministered unto, but to minister and to give his life a ransom for many. That's again referring to what he just referred to back in verses 32 to 34. So there needs to be a reversal. You're thinking the way that the Gentiles think. You're thinking that the way the world thinks about greatness and about service. Service is what happens to great people. And what Jesus is saying is, no, here's a reversal. Service is what great people do. What makes you great is how you serve. And the greatest is the servant of all. And of course, Jesus is the greatest servant of all because he gave his life a ransom for many, for many. And so, um, how does this apply to your class? I don't think that the mindset has changed much. I think that people tend to think that the CEO is the person who has all the perks. They tend to think that the president is the one that has um, all of the privilege. Um, the further you go up the food chain, the more you get served. And we all know that the greatest leaders, we all feel it because we've all had bad leaders and good leaders. And the greatest leaders that you've ever experienced are the ones that saw their job as service, that saw their role as equipping and helping and giving and serving. And so that needs to be our mentality today. And so um, that really is the lesson. How do you apply it? How are you serving? Who are you serving? We, of course, serve the Lord as we serve other people. And sometimes it takes us remembering that we're serving the Lord to serve other people because often other people don't deserve it, including us. We don't deserve service, and sometimes we're even hard to serve because we can be demanding, because we think that we deserve to be served. And Jesus comes in and says, "Hey, you need to think the way that I think about this. I am here to give my life a ransom for many, and if Jesus died for us, then we should be able to live for him by serving others." And so that's the lesson, really. It's what makes you great. What makes us great is serving. Christ's mindset on service was that he'd give his life for ransom for many. Our man's mindset is that great people are served, but we need to have a reverse mindset. Number 3, that being great means that we serve and that we do it as unto the Lord as we do it unto men. I hope this was a help to you. It's a great passage. It's a easy passage to understand, but man, it's hard to live out sometimes. And so pray for yourself that you would serve your class well this week, and that your motivation in serving them would be as unto the Lord, and not just out of routine or habit, but because you're trying to do what you're doing to serve them. And so I hope that helps. I hope you have a great week and do a great job on Sunday. Thanks.